Welcome Wargamers, Doug here from 2+ Stuff, and today I have a different kind of video for you. You see, recently I did a live stream, it was actually just yesterday. I was painting some models and username Danny hopped in the chat and asked a question about how battalions and that kind of thing work with Age of Sigmar 3rd edition. Now, it's very easy to assume that everybody knows everything and that we're all just super on par with the rules. But I really wanted to stop the show and kind of help him out, and so I pulled up a few windows and we kind of walked through how core battalions and that kind of thing work. And so, generally speaking, my theory or my philosophy when it comes to YouTube is if one person is asking this question, dozens of people are asking this question, and so I'm going to make a video about it. And so today we're going to take a look at core battalions, how they function, and basically how to get started using them. Because list design can certainly be one of those things in AOS, or really just any miniatures game. I mean, it's not a perfect science for any game, where it can get kind of cumbersome on the brain. So we're going to alleviate some of that by going over to the shared screen. As always, I will try to put all the resources and links for stuff in the description down below if you need it. But here we are at the War Scroll Builder. This is the online list builder application that they have. They also have the paid one that you can use on your phone, but we're going to stick with this right now because it's a nice big screen. How about that? And over on the right side, over here, we have the matched play rule set for building your army. I believe they call them battle packs now, but essentially it's just a framework. And so the first thing you have to do before we go anywhere else is just decide what size of game we're going to be playing. We got 750, 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000 points. To keep things very simple, I'm going to go with a 1,000 point list. So we're going to go up here, click on the 2,000, go to 1,000, and as you can see, it changes all of the minimums and maximums and all that kind of stuff to account for it. So now we're list building, with the exact same amount of points as our opponent, and the list builder is now accounting for the size of the game. And looking at that battle pack on the right, you can see we need at least one leader unit, but we can have a maximum of 3, so we got some wiggle room. We have to have at least 2 battle line units, but we could have as many as we want. 0 to 2 behemoths, 0 to 2 artillery units, endless spells, reinforced units, which just means you just increase their number by the base amount. So if it's a 10-man unit and you reinforce it, now it's 20 dudes in one unit. You can do that twice in this size of a game. And the rest of it's just like playing space and all that kind of stuff. We're not too worried about all that. We're sticking with list building right now. And so if we go over to the list builder here, you see we have leaders 0 out of 3, battle line 0 out of 2. We need to bump those numbers up. So I'm going to build a Stormcast list, because I know these guys a whole lot more than other armies. How about that? The first thing you have to do is choose your allegiance, okay? So this could be any of the factions that are available. Some allegiances are from specific supplement books that have come out. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about those. I don't think you should either. We're going to stick with Stormcast. Now, next is this option here, select Stormhost. This one is a bit confusing because it's inconsistent between armies. It's not Stormhost, but whatever, select the temple, the host, the sub-faction, whatever that is. Some armies require you to choose one, other armies do not, and that is going to be purely up to your particular battle tome. For example, like Slaanesh, which was the example we were working with when I was giving this demonstration during my live stream, Slaanesh requires you to have a host. You have to choose one of the hosts of Slaanesh. Whereas Stormcast, I don't have to. Right? I can just be generic, thick boy. But we're going to do it anyway, because my guys are painted as Knights Excelsior, and I like them. And thematically, I have them set in Gur from their basing strategy. Now, as far as the grand strategy goes, not super worried about this. This has more to do with the actual gameplay, but you're going to pick one of these, and then we can start adding units, okay? So, select the faction. This is all the units that Stormcast have available to it, and it's just basically asking you what pool of models do you want to search from, okay? So you could go Stormcast Eternals and have your full Stormcast Eternals list. If you wanted to add allies, you would go up here, pick the allied army, boom, and then you can add them in that way. So that's just a little example of that. Most of the time, you're just going to stick with your army, though, let's be honest. So we're going to scroll down here. We know we need at least one leader, so let's pick one. I really like Let's see, I like the Knight Relictor. I just got that model, and I like him quite a bit. We have 1 out of 3 leaders. Now, it's not expressly listed here, although it will give you an error message if you try to do this. You need at least 1 general. You need to have at least 1 leader, and you have to pick one of your leaders to be a general. So if you only have 1, he is, by default, your general. The other options here are things like special rules, command abilities, artifacts, the prayers, because he's specifically this character as a priest, as you can see right there at the keyword. Not worried about those too much, but then we go over to this thing called Core Battalion. You can see there's no options there. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just build out some units here and kind of fill this sucker up. So let's go to the units. And, well, you know, I am a Knights Excelsior, so for me, Paladin units are battle line. So hey, Annihilators, which is the 3 thick boys that you get in the Dominion box, are my battle line. That's pretty sweet. Let's throw in some cheap dudes just to chuck them all in there. Sweet. So now we have a hero and 3 units. And if we scroll up, we can see we meet these requirements. We have 1 out of 3 heroes. We have 3 out of the required 2. Remember, you can have as many battle line as you want. So we have all the battle line we need, and we have no behemoths, no artillery, all that kind of stuff. And so on surface, this is list building, okay? That's all there is to it. We have decided on a point value, added units to achieve that point value, with some caveats being that, like, certain sub-factions are required by armies, other armies don't care what you bring, and some of those options change for you. So, like, I'm Knights Excelsior, these guys become battle line for me where they wouldn't be for any other Stormcast player. Now, let's step things up a notch by bringing in Core Battalions. These 2 images on my screen are available for you from the core rulebook in Age of Sigmar, as well as, I believe, the free downloadable PDF. I have to double check that before you quote me on it, but you can get them very easily online. Honestly, just do a Google search and you will find it. In the description down below, I do have a link to a Goonhammer article. It's a wonderful website, fantastic writers, and they have all of these images and break down in the written word what they do. So if you're more of a reader, you can go ahead and head there. But what we have here on the left are the 6 core battalions that any army in the game can rock. Okay, there are more being added all the time that are faction specific or specific to a general's handbook kind of a thing, but these are the ones that are going to remain constant. All those other ones, don't worry about them until you get more comfortable with the game and list building and all that kind of stuff. Just forget them. We're going to focus on these. And on the right side is the legend, like literally just telling you what the icons on the left mean. So we'll pick an example. We'll go with this Vanguard down here. That's the most simple one that there is. We see that in black, there is 1 sub-commander and 1 troop. Okay, so if we look over here, icons that are in black are mandatory, required. Icons in gray, the faded ones, are optional. So you have to have at least 1 leader and 1 troop in the Vanguard thing, but you can have up to 2 additional troop units that go with you. Now, the definition of these things is very important, okay? For example, sub-commander, that's what the icon in Vanguard is. It's a leader with a wounds characteristic of less than 10. It can have as many wounds as it wants, right? It could be a grot that has 5 wounds. It could be, a Stormcast that rocks 9. It could be any of those things. It just can't have more than 10. Conversely, if you look at the one above it, commander, it just says leader, where there is no rules or guidelines on how many wounds they have. You could use a sub-commander as a commander. You could, if you wanted to, but you don't have to. I'll explain that more in a second. But, so we're looking, we have our minimums, we have our sub-commander, 10 or less wounds, less than 10 wounds, and then 1 troop unit. A troop is defined as any unit, not battle line. That's been a huge point of confusion for some folks. A troop is any unit that is not a leader, artillery, or behemoth. So it could be anything from a massive swarm of 60 grots with, stickas, or it could be a unit of 3 troggoths. It's different ends of the spectrum within the same army. 3 elite guys versus 60 hordes. Both of those are a troop unit. Once you have satisfied the minimum requirements, so our sub-commander and our troop unit, you gain this little icon at the bottom. Again, on the right, there's a legend that explains these icons. So for this one, if we did Vanguard, we would get Swift. Right over here on the bottom, once per battle, one unit from this battalion can receive the at the double or forward unto victory command without the command being issued and without a command point being spent. Keeps it very simple, very straightforward. It's a little bit to keep track of, and you just got to remember when you put them in a battalion. But here's the thing. You can have as many battalions as you want. There is absolutely no limit on core battalions. If you were to say, I don't know, play Fire Slayers and where they have an abundance of heroes, you could just do a whole bunch of Vanguard core battalions and just have a hero and his entourage, a hero and his entourage. You could do that all day long. Is it good? Probably not. But you know what? It's fun. The one thing you do have to keep track of, though, is what unit is in which battalion. Because again, one unit from this battalion can receive this command ability without it being spent. So you have to keep track of what leader and what troops are a part of that particular Vanguard core battalion. So as we're looking at these, one thing I also want to note is if there is a slash between two icons, it means you have to choose. If there's no slash, you get both. So let's look at this. Command entourage. This is one leader. A leader, again, could be literally anything with the leader keyword. It could have 5 wounds, it could have 40, does not matter. A sub-commander, which is specifically a leader with less than 10 wounds. So you have to have at least 3 leader units. One of them can be as many wounds as you want. And for that, you get to choose between strategist and magnificent. So strategist, once per battle, when you receive command points at the start of your hero phase, you receive an extra one. Pretty cool. Magnificent is when you pick an enhancement for your army, you can pick an extra one. So an extra artifact, an extra items, that kind of stuff. Whereas if we pan over to the Warlord core battalion up here, you get both, which again, it's just relative to how complicated it is to get those requirements done. Truth be told, between the two, you might as well just throw in the extra troop unit and get the second ability. That's just my opinion. When are you going to have a command entourage that doesn't have any troops in the field? Whatever. But if you wanted to field a specific hero-centric core battalion or a thematic one, like you want to deck them out to be part of an entourage, that's a cool way to go. Now we're looking at the Warlord one, okay? So we're going to actually make, let's see, I think we're going to make the command entourage. We're going to go back to our list on the list builder, and we're going to make this happen. I might have to adjust the point value just to make sure everything fits, but I want to demonstrate how this all works. Okay, so here we are back at our list, and I pulled up the core battalions to the right here. Again, we're building the Warlord. So all I did was I added a Knight Questor, which is just a cheap melee hero, and the Lord Arcanum on Toralon. Now, the noticeable thing is Chaboy's got 12 wounds, okay? He is going to be our commander guy here, and then we have 2 sub-commanders, because they are both the Knight Relictor and Knight Questor, below 10 wounds, and then we have our 3 battle line units. So again, you can look up here and see everything is kosher. We're maxed out on heroes, but that's all right. We got the good ones anyway. And we're going to scroll down here to the bottom, and you will see an option right here, Core Battalions. So let's add one. We're going to add the Warlord. Okay. And again, it just lists off the requirements here and gives you the optional ones and the abilities Strategist and Magnificent. Those are the icons right here on the right. So all the information is here. I just find that the chart is a better visualization for me personally. And that's all there is. It's just a visualization. That's all. So we're going to scroll back up. We can put every single one of these units into a battalion. Now the 3 that we have to do without question, or sorry, 4 rather, we have to add. Now if you click Core Battalion, you'll see Warlord is down there because we added the battalion to our list. Now it shows up as an option. He's in the Warlord, you're in the Warlord, you're in the Warlord. And we need at least 1 troop unit. Let's throw the Annihilators in there. But here's the thing. We've already met all of the requirements. We have no obligation to put these 2 units of Liberators into that same core battalion, and in fact, we can't. If you look over here on the right side, you see that there's only room for 1 troop unit. required, and then there's only one additional space. So we can't actually have all 3 in. If you wanted to, you could delete this, bump this up. That's still 2 battle line units. We're still kosher for 1,000 points, and we can make that work. Boom! Now the Warlord thing is filled as far as troops go, and then we have our minimum required for leader and sub-leader. Let's try something else, okay? Okay, so I just reset things just a little bit and got rid of all the battalions. Now let's add some more. Okay, we'll go down to the Core Battalions and we're going to add 2 Vanguards. Why? Because we can. As you can see, the list builder already adds Vanguard 2, just to help you keep track of which one is which. And now we can go up here, we can throw the Knight Relictor into 1. Let's say he wants to walk around with his boys, the Annihilators. If we look on the right, we have a sub-commander, we have a troops unit. Now, with the other one, we can go, Vanguard 2, and we'll throw a unit of Liberators with him. Boom, again, sub-commander and a troops unit. But the cool thing is, the Vanguard can have up to 3 troops, so we can actually throw them in there too. And so in this way, the only unit that's not in a battalion is the Lord Arcanum on Toralon. And that's really all there is to it. It's just, when you get to the list building thing, I would say, generally speaking, build the list that you want, and then hold up the Core Battalion sheet, which I'll just move over here. That's not it. There we go. Hold this up and say, okay, what's the best configuring, like with the units that I have, how can I add them to these various battalions in order to have the greatest effect on my army? Whether you're trying to get new artifacts through the magnificent, special rule that you can get from Warlord or Command Entourage, or the most popular one by far is Unified, which is this one here in the dead center to the top. Battle regiments, 1 commander, up to 2 sub-commanders, and 2 troops minimum. So that's a pretty easy thing to achieve right there. And Unified simply means that they all get put down on the table at the same time. And that's actually something that we can do here. So we can go down. I'm just going to show this one more time just so people can understand. We're looking for battle regiment. And so we can add everybody to it because we have it. And so in this regard, boom, we now have a legal army and we can print this off. And so that's the coolest thing that there is. As you can see, the little stars here also denote who is in which battalion, and the drops have been rendered down to 1 because the entire army is unified. And really, folks, that's it. It's just a matter of build your list according to the requirements of the point size you're playing, which we outlined in the beginning. And again, that's available in any battle pack. Tournaments will also have their own if they have any changes or unique things to it. And from there, I typically recommend people just build the list that you want to play, either with the models that you own, or, obviously if you're looking to win the event, you want to be a little more competitive, a little more prudent, have some teeth to it, and then come back here and be like, well, how can I fit these units into something? The most popular, of course, Battle Regiment, because if you have fewer drops than your opponent, you get to choose who has the initiative on the first round. That's a huge deal, but some of these other ones are quite interesting too. If you are a battle tome that has a lot of really good artifacts, like I would say Maggotkin has like 2 or 3 really, really good ones. You want to make sure you get those. This would be a great way to bring in the Magnificent Rule or something like that. So just kind of think about your army, what you need, and then find ways to work your collection into these battalions to get you the things that you need. And if nothing else, it's good to have them in there because it makes the army more efficient. For example, the Vanguard one doesn't cost you anything. It's just a sub-commander and a troop unit, but for that, they get to, move auto 6 when they run once a game or reroll a charge and something like that. So it's just very simple, straightforward ways to add tiny buffs to your faction and get more out of your army. So friends, that's it for me today. If you have any more questions about how Age of Sigmar works from like a basic rules perspective, do not be shy about asking. Leave them in the comments down below. I love helping as much as I can. I don't focus on competitive stuff, but when it comes to helping people get into the game and learn how to play, it is a huge passion of mine. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Happy wargaming.